Well, hello everyone. I am your host, Zach Turnage, and you are listening to Republic Radio. It is July 17th, 2009, and we are broadcasting from sunny and bankrupt Southern California. Today we have a very special guest who goes by the name of Maxwell Igan. Maxwell, a filmmaker, writer, artist, and musician, is from Queensland, Australia. He's very pro-American, which is one of the things that makes him outspoken. He recognizes the reality of what makes the U.S. great is not the nation itself. It is, in fact, the American Constitution and the American people. As a responsible citizen of the world, he does not idly stand by and watch the only true beacon of freedom in the world and the freedoms of his friends be extinguished due to the actions of a corporate-controlled administration and an irresponsible president, whose family has long-standing ties to some very sinister people. He is utterly appalled by the media's failure to address these issues. And that, my friends, is what we are going to do tonight here on Republic Radio Show. Maxwell, good to have you with us today.
Pleasure to be here, Zach. Big fan of the show. It's nice to finally make it on.
Great. We're all really excited to have you on with us today. I'm a fan of yours myself. I really love your videos. I have a question for you, and I'm sure everyone does out there. A global conspiracy, does it in fact exist?
Well, according to my research, it does, Zach, very much. It's a very, very clever conspiracy, and it's been very, very cleverly hidden. And the media is very, very complicit in hiding this conspiracy. It's been going on for a very, very long time. They don't mind having their plans move slowly. They like to do things in gradual increments so that nobody notices. But my research tells me that, yes, there is indeed a global conspiracy, and it definitely needs to be addressed by the people. When you start looking into this, you find that it really becomes quite obvious once you begin to see through the haze of propaganda that's provided by the mainstream media. And I really, really think that this issue needs to be addressed. I think it would be very empowering for people to actually look past the word theory that they've been taught to associate with the word conspiracy, and to have a look at the inner workings of the world that we live in today.
I think there's a big play of disinformation and a lot of distraction going on, maybe to keep our eyes away from this conspiracy that does exist.
Oh, very much, mate. I mean, they keep you distracted with basically keeping you chasing after money all the time. I mean, that's a really big part of it. I mean, I'm sure you understand the nature of the fractional reserve banking system that we are all subject to. It's sort of designed to keep you on the treadmill and keep you locked into this cycle of collecting more and more paper in order to pay this never-ending sea of bills that we seem to generate simply by being alive. We all seem to live in a sea of self-generating debt, which has been created for us completely by design, and it's completely unnecessary. And there are much better ways of doing things, and they use all sorts of stuff. They use fear is a big one, a fear of this and fear of that, and bird flu and the crash of the economy and wars and terrorism and everything they can think of, and class and race and everything they can think of to keep people divided and distracted and caught up in the collection of paper. Really is what people seem to dedicate a lot of their time to. Yes.
Now, Maxwell, where in fact has this conspiracy started?
Well, it started a very, very long time ago. It's run by a certain bloodline, a certain group of individuals, which can be traced way back to ancient Egypt. But the conspiracy that we're facing in the world today actually was put in place around 1773 in Bavaria by Mayor Amschel Rothschild, who founded the Illuminati secret society. A lot of people think the Illuminati is a myth, but it's not a myth. It's a very, very active society, and it's infiltrated into all major areas and all major political institutions in the world today. It's very, very clever the way they've done this.
The Rothschild dynasty.
Well, that was who started it. They basically got 12 other families. It's a group of 13 different dynasties and around 300 families. And there's these people, and they control pretty well all the mainstream media. They control all the flow of information. They control the flow of food. They control resources. They virtually control whole countries. Excuse me. And this is sort of where it comes from. This is the conspiracy we've been caught up in today. And it's mainly the main tool of control they use is the fractional reserve banking system, is control of the money supply, because if you can control the money of each nation, then you control the government of each nation. If you control the government, you control the people. And when you control the flow of information as well, then the main tool of control they use is the fractional reserve banking system, is control of the money supply, because if you can control the money of each nation, then you control the government of each nation. If you control the government, you control the people. And when you control the flow of information as well, then you control everything that the people believe and everything that they know, everything they think is true. You can present to them your truth, and most people sort of tend to believe it because most people have been taught simply to believe what's on their television sets. But what the television sets tells them is definitely not true. And the global compliance film and the big picture and some of the films I've created, I've really created as an observation so far of the situation as I see it, obviously, and as I've interpreted the information that I've had access to.
Right.
There are many films that address these issues, and many of them are very good, but many of them are quite long, and the information contained in it's very, very vast information. So a lot of the films are quite long, and many address things in a very roundabout sort of a way, but they often run off on tangents and provide people with information that might seem kind of weird or inaccessible to a lot of average people. Many provide background information that, though it's quite significant information, it tends to alienate the average person, like the average housewife or bricklayer or truck driver. And many seem to be very dark and dramatised and touch on areas that delve into quite esoteric areas. And my desire with the short narratives I put forth, like in the Global Non-Compliance film, was to try to remove all the red tape and present some very basic information that may alert average people in a very simplistic manner that things are not well. And the situation really needs to be addressed, and I think it would be prudent of them to investigate some of the things that I say in the films and look into some of these so-called conspiracy theories that they keep hearing about, because these really aren't theories.
Yeah, we do hear that word quite a bit, conspiracy theory. However, earlier in the year, Dick Morris, who is the former Clinton advisor, came on Fox News and stated that the conspiracies are correct.
Well, that's true. They are. They are absolutely correct. It's just that people have been very, very cleverly taught to associate the word theory with the word conspiracy. So that when you bring them this information, they look at you and they say, "Oh, conspiracy theorist." And it's just not true. I said to someone the other day who called me a conspiracy theorist, and they said, "Oh, this is all rubbish." I said, "So I take it you've investigated this issue?" And they said, "Well, I don't need to investigate it." So I thought, well, that's a pretty neat trick. You've come to that conclusion with no investigation. And that's what most people tend to do. They tend to just believe what they're told. And I would suggest to them that they do need to investigate these issues, and they do need to gain a little bit of awareness of how this world's actually run, because finding out the truth can be very empowering. And the situation that we face...
And with knowledge comes power. That is so true.
Yeah, well, the situation could be very easily remedied, and we just need to take the bull by the horns and actually address the situation.
There's some really strange things going on in our country today, here in America. As you know, there's a bill that's been introduced by Congressman Ron Paul, H.R. 1207, which is to audit the Federal Reserve, one of the backbones of the conspiracy.
Yeah, well, I don't think that's getting through very much, though, is it? I think he's trying to get that bill through, but I don't know.
We've got over 250 supporters. Of course, we know that the powers that be will have some kind of railroading to prevent this from happening. And, of course, they're putting out other bills to give the Federal Reserve powers over the complete economic status of the country. So they're trying to fight it, of course.
Well, it's very, very, I hope very, very much that it does get through and that the Fed is ordered, because that would certainly be an enlightening experience for a lot of people to find out the real truth behind the Federal Reserve. I don't believe they've ever been audited, have they? Yeah,
it's something else. We really want to see that pass, and it's got a lot of support. So we're just hoping that it'll just keep going and it'll snowball, and we can get this to happen here in the States.
Well, that would be great. That would be really good.
I know you did a movie recently on Codex Alimentarius and the Food Safety Act, H.R. 875. What do you think of that?
Oh, it's a disgraceful piece of legislation. It really is. It gives the government the ability to outlaw all organic food. And organic food is very, very important. The loss of organic food is one of the reasons that the human family is subject to so many diseases that we are now. And the hospitals are full. I was talking about this on my radio show just the other day, that when I was a child, the hospitals were empty buildings. Now they're places where you can't get a seat. And this will effectively criminalise nutrition. Codex Alimentarius is basically a merger of the pharmaceutical companies